referring to the, I mean, what is the best management practice that you're referring to there that's 72 feet? Is it the actual buffer zone? Is it?
So that would be the buffer on the back side of the lot and has an average flow length of 5. So once the water in any part of the, my understanding is once the water from any part of the lot 5 hits the buffer, its average flowing is 72 feet in this like diagonal direction. The buffer is, from the property line to the setback is 50 feet this way, but the water's flowing at a diagonal in there, and the average, my understanding, the average point from where any spot it hits in lot 5 would be 72 feet, is what this is describing in this kind of like a diagonal direction.
Does that make sense to you?
It just means that it's not flowing from this side of the table to here. It's kind of flowing at an angle like that with the contour of the land.
Yeah.
So, just to-
I guess I
Just that
didn't
it's not
understand
printed
that
on
it's
there.
supposed to be, that it's talking about the flow. I thought it was referring to a specific thing. I mean, a best management practice is something that is implemented. It's an actual thing, right?
Yeah, and that would be the buffer area.
Right. So
Yeah,
I'm
and
looking for a buffer area that says it's 72 feet, and I guess I can't find that.
Yeah, so the buffer area is that area in the back of the lot. It's 50 feet wide. It's being undisturbed forested buffer, and then if any water would hit that, the average flow length in there would be 72 feet is my understanding of how this is described. So it would be described on here as the 50-foot width,
Right.
but once the water flows into it, it flows in a pattern diagonally with the contours of the grade of the land that will not be disturbed in 72 feet on average, if it's the average.
So, okay, but this says 70 on here. I mean, are these supposed to match what you have in the narrative?
Which one says 70?
Well, here it says average flow length, 70 feet. And here it says, for lot 3 and 4. I've lost my place here. Lot 5 says 72 here.
Yeah, so the
And that
standard
says 50 there. Where
the
is
standard
it?
sizing for a residential lot is by DEP standards is 50 feet, and then which is shown as a distance here, but this is 50 feet encompasses that at a minimum all of them are hitting 50 feet. Some are higher, which is additional treatment on average for each one. It's they broke it down per lot of what the average is flowing through that buffer. While the minimum is 50 required, like on lot 7 would be the minimum required for DEP standards for treatment is 50. This provides in the flow path 67 on average.
Okay. But it doesn't say that on any,
Didn't say it on here, but
it doesn't say it here, it doesn't say it here, but it says it here.
Yeah, because in order
But this is the thing that we end up signing.
yeah,
in order to achieve that, you need this minimum of 50, and that is a standard that they've held across there. So if this is 50 all across, you're going to get the above treatment, and it's described here. By providing that, you're getting what's described. So like the standard is the 50 is the minimum, and then it's getting above and beyond treatment because of the direction of the contour flow towards it. So it's that is showing the minimum, but in practice, it's giving additional treatment because of the contours of the land.
so the minimum BMP is 50
It's
that you're
50.
meeting
Yeah.
because of the
You're exceeding it.
setback.
So it's exceeding it.
When you take it
yeah.
sideways, it's giving it more than 50.
Yeah, when you go diagonal in it, it's giving you a higher, and some of them, and depending on in the contours, so some of them are steep, some of them are more angled towards wetlands, and then I believe it gets flatter this way. So like I don't know which lot that is. So that'd be lot
That's
6, and lot 6. I don't know the contours too well on this site. I'm sorry, I'm filling in. I'm trying to do my
That's
best on it, but
Right? 6 in the book says 77 feet.
Yeah, so it must be a little steeper on it. It is a little steeper on that end, more angled towards there. And then there's, let's see, for example, lot 3 would be not as, and that would be 62 instead of 70, because it's angled a little bit differently. But that one also has a deeper buffer in the back.
Where is the level lip spreader that is being used? Where is that on?
So that is just right here, and that is to slow down the flow coming out of those two 36-inch pipes. The rest are just by sheet flow from the lots or the roadway. So the only level spreader here is there, and it's not for treatment, it's just to keep the flows down and not scour the wetland area. And that was analyzed in the pre-post model.
Is that actually referenced on one of these plans?
It is on C 3.1, it calls out 50-foot length at the elevation, so it's all detailed there, and I believe it's detailed in the back. Because it's not there for stormwater treatment, it's there just to keep the flows from disturbing the wetland area.
Okay. The other question I had was, these, the iron pipes that are indicated on the plan, they're there to also mark, I think someplace in the whole narrative, it says that those markers have to be in place before construction begins so that you know not to cut down the buffer.
Yeah, any
So-
signage or buffer language needs to be done before any earthwork happens so they can stay undisturbed.
Okay. And the other, on the Maine DEP permit, I just want to make sure I get my, which section has permits? Eight, okay. And on the Maine DEP one, it says, on page 3 of 11, under wetland alteration, it says the applicant proposes to alter 6,337 square feet, but it's 9,069, right?
I know it says that on the first page, 9,069.
Right, on the first page of, yeah, there it says 9,000. So was this in here, but in section 4, it says wetland alteration, it says 6,337. And I didn't know if that was there, because after the environmental people came and did the assessment to see what the wetlands were, they added some more wetland space, and that brought it up. But that says the applicant is also seeking approval to fill 6,337 square feet of forested freshwater wetland, which will result in 9,069 square feet. So when I read here on page 3 that it says only 63,
I believe,
my question is,
That's the fill.
yeah, I believe, and this would be a question probably for DEP or Tim, but I believe that might be, I'm not sure. I don't have an answer for that one. That would be probably a question for DEP. But I know that it's supposed to be that 9,000 number.
so you're filling 9,000 now, right? Not just the 6,300.
I believe it results in impacts because it's cutting off some, because they're not filling, I don't believe it's filling in lot 7, but I'm not, I can't speak to that, unfortunately, I'm not sure. I know the permit was for the 9,000, and,
The permit was for the 9,000?
yeah, that's what I was informed that the permit's for the 9,000. I'm not sure the breakdown of that the 6,000 to the, I know they have the overall 9,000 direct impacts, which is how it was permitted. I'm not sure the breakdown of the fill to the other disturbance is, but it's,
Well, either way, it would still fall under the tier 1 review, right? Because it's got to be
Yes,
15,000
yeah.
before it goes up to another tier. Is that
Yes,
right?
yes.
Right? Okay. All right, so I guess we'll just leave that.
It's still under.
What is the level, drainage easements on lot 3 and 4, listen, Article 2. This is a HOA document question. That's not it. Tell me which tab the HOA document is
Should be
in?
5.
Five, okay, thank you. So why does it say lots, at the very beginning, why is it saying lots number 1 through 6 inclusive, and not 1 through 7, or maybe 2 through, because I know lot 1, the house already exists, are they not part of the HOA? So should it be referencing lots 2 through 7 instead of lots 1 through 6?
Unfortunately, I don't know.
I think this document is a cut and paste from
Yeah.
another one, because there's an incorrect reference to the subdivision itself in the name, and also it references the town of Standish for approval.
Okay, yeah, that,
And there's no plan for the cistern maintenance documented in there.
I think the cistern is in Article 2, but I do see a lot of, Article 2, Section 7 talks about the association shall be responsible for the maintenance and repair of the open space, fire cistern, vegetative buffers, stormwater, et
Oh, yes,
cetera.
that's in there, but they
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
describe what that plan is. A plan is a plan, right? So a plan, by definition, requires what steps are gonna be taken, and I see no definition to that. Someone can just say, I'll check it once and that's the end of it. I think this should be a yearly process, should be identified.
I know that, yeah, I know there's a time frame for how long
Yes.
it, I don't know. what-
It's not specified
Yeah.
in any of the documents.
Where are the drainage easements on lot 3 and 4 that it refers to? I don't see them on the plan. Because that's a part of the homeowners association, the responsibility is to maintain the drainage easements on lot 3 and 4.
I believe,
Are they on one of the maps that I missed?
I believe that was part of the preliminary plan, I'm guessing, because I was looking at it and that had it at a different area where the water flew out in the
It's one of
buffer in
these.
between. So my guess would be that the HOA doc did not get updated to reflect the change to the pipe crossing, or the wetland alteration there with the 36-inch pipes. But that would
So
be.
that was one of the things that we needed for final approval, was a finalized and updated HOA document, right?
My guess would be that's what it was referring to, unfortunately. I don't have the preliminary plans, and I haven't really seen them because I wasn't involved with that part, unfortunately, but I believe that is likely what it's referencing.
So would the drainage easements not have to be shown on whatever the final plan is though, and what we end up signing?
It's like one of the supplements here in the plan set. It wouldn't necessarily be on the,
So now I know it has been revised that I believe that entire level spreader and the pipes are all within the right of way, and it wouldn't need the easement to repair them on any of the lots. It made it, I know that made it simpler in terms of the plans, with the change of where the crossing is. I believe it needs to be stricken out of the HOA documents. Because the level spreader is shown in the right of way itself, so all the work that we need to do to maintain and repair it would be within the right of way of the road.
But why would it have to, I'm confused, because
I know.
somebody has to maintain it.
Yes, but it wouldn't be on lot 3 and 4, it'd be within the right of way. So it still need to be maintained, but it wouldn't need the easement on 3 and 4 to maintain it.
Oh, as far as the level spreader
As
goes. But this also, so they're separate, because this refers to drainage easement on lot 3 and 4, and it also refers to the level spreader as different things.
Yeah, so, I think the drainage easement, I think the old, in the preliminary, and forgive me, I don't have that with me, is the pipe went into lot 3 and 4, but now it's been reduced into the right of way. So, and that is the only level spreader. So now there is no need for the specific drainage easement that the homeowner association referenced for lots 3 and 4 because the pipe's been pulled up. And the level spreader's all within the right of way, so it still needs to be maintained, but it would be under the general road maintenance part of it and that stormwater, and it wouldn't have to be on the lot, but still is a maintenance requirement. So I think that the drainage easement from lot 3 and 4 should be stricken from the HOA, but the need to maintain the pipe is still very valid.
I guess I just have one more kind of overarching question, and
Yeah.
that is that, so we did ask for the phosphorus analysis, which isn't usually required for this level of disturbing of.
Yeah.
Part of the reason that I had asked for it and the board agreed was that, I think, because there's just so much going on in this development, and there are wetlands, and it's a subdivision of a rural area that was not identified as a residential growth area, and so I think, I know, speaking for myself, and maybe others had just some concern, so it obviously appears that the phosphorus cannot all be treated on the site, and I know that the proposal is to pay a compensation fee, but we have to discuss how or if that would work, because again, it's outside of the main DEP thing. All of that is a preamble to my question, that would be, what would have to happen on this site so that all the phosphorus could be treated?
Yeah, well, I asked that before I came, just so I could be, and I was told that, to get, it's not fully possible with this site while making the project viable, because it would likely cut into removal of lots, and then it comes the construction cost versus the buildability of the measures to make it viable. So that's why they went to the DEP standards of the compensation fee at that point, to keep the same number of lots and keep the project financially viable to construct.
Okay. I'm not surprised that that's what you're saying.
So basically in this issue, there are three options, right? There's to take the $12,000 into the slush fund, so
Yep.
to speak. Conduct a full review, which may yield a different set of data, or implement 100% phosphorus treatment. So I think, the applicant should come back and say, I think that option number one really is not a viable option, which is the $12,000 payment for the slush fund. I'd like to see either a full review being done, or to have 100% phosphorus treatment being taken care of.
What do you mean by full review? Sorry, just so I can.
So this was just
Well, he did do the phosphorus analysis, I mean, I think.
that's the
that-
DEP though, that's kind of the scratch back of the hand review. It's not a full analysis, is it?
Well, it isn't, I think,
It was done to DEP standards, so
Yeah.
if we were gonna submit this to DEP, we'd submit the same forms to them. And from my understanding is the only reason that the compensation fee can't be accepted is because doesn't fall under the threshold of DEP, review at this point for phosphorus, because it was,
because of the
then-
nature of Brandy Pond, so.
Yeah.
I don't know if you recall, the conversation was, if Brandy Pond was in full algae bloom, it would have been required, based on the impervious surface and the disturbed land, but because it wasn't, you didn't have to do the phosphorus review, so you could do this. But I wanted to know, and I think, the board agreed with me, that I wanted to understand what was really happening on the site with all the development, and that's why I had asked for the phosphorus calculation, and I'm not surprised that it turned out this way. This is something for discussion for us before we make a decision, but I don't, if the town, I don't know if Kathy has any opinion, if the town would be amenable to creating its own way to handle a phosphorus compensation that doesn't fall under the DEP, because as Colin Holm from LEA had explained in his letter, they're not really structured to take money for a compensation fee if it's not a mandated thing from the Maine DEP.
Right.
I know the applicant tried to pay.
I understand, yes.
Yeah.
So, a couple things. I see three options. One is to allow them to do it the way that it's submitted, at 60%.
Yeah.
The second option is to allow them to do it 60% and pay the compensation fee, or three, require them to do 100%. So those are the three options. In the letter from Colin, he did provide some language, a draft language of a policy, not an ordinance. So in order to accept it, the select board would have to adopt the policy for the compensation fund. Not a big deal, because it doesn't have to be voted on by the townspeople, it just the select board. If we were to add language to strengthen the phosphorus controls in our subdivision ordinance, because remember, in our subdivision ordinance, it wasn't even required for this project. So if we wanted to strengthen the language, that requires us to work on it.
And I did want to bring that up
Yeah,
later under
yeah, and
another
that's gonna
topic,
be,
but yes.
that's gonna be something for the ordinance review committee and a referendum vote.
Yeah.
But you do have the authority to require it, because you can require other studies, and now you found that in order to do this, they can only treat 60,000 as proposed, and there's 11,000. So what could be done is, the town could receive the 11,000 in escrow until such a time that the policy is adopted, and then it could go into a special revenue account. And then it would be determined on projects that would benefit the
That
Brandy,
watershed,
the Brandy Pond watershed.
Yeah.
So that, it's really just up to the select board. I don't think they're gonna have an issue with that, to be honest with you.
Do you think it's something that, I mean, at the end of the day, it would be your office that would be implementing it, I think.
Not necessarily, I mean,
No.
there could be, I've looked at the examples of preferred projects.
Yeah, those-
And so, I mean,
Interesting.
there's always room for work, related to stormwater and phosphorus, and so culverts and
Yeah.
things that need to be, as long as it's in that Brandy Pond watershed, it doesn't have to be project specific, specific to this
Right, right,
area.
right.
So I'm not super worried about that, there's plenty of things that could be done. So that part doesn't, I was very thankful for Colin for providing this for us. It gives us some options.
Yeah.
Because again, this would not have required review in our current ordinance.
Right. And it didn't require it under
Under
Maine
DEP
DEP
either.
because of,
If I recall, the conversation was that this is not the only lot in this subdivision that's being further subdivided. And the
Right.
concern was the cumulative effect. Because all of these people are looking for housing, and they're looking for lots, and they're further dividing these 10-acre lots. So that was the concern, was the cumulative effect. Long-term, we need to look at our ordinance. In the short term, this is a short-term option to address this.
So, my question would be, if we move with asking the select board to create a policy, and we ask the applicant to contribute money to that policy or fund, if the select board don't go that way, then we have to bring this all back to the table and start again?
Yeah, a couple of things I'm hearing tonight. It sounds like that you're concerned about the HOAs, that there needs to be some corrections in the HOA docs, so they aren't necessarily final. Let's just go right through the list of the outstanding items, just so that way we can kind of see where we're at. Go ahead.
So I have a couple others.
Sure.
I have
Oh,
another
go ahead,
issue.
yeah.
So, Craig, you weren't there for the site walk. so
Yeah.
You haven't seen the area that we're talking about. But probably about 300, 400 feet from this, north of the property, there's a junkyard,
Okay.
basically. And so I'd be concerned about the quality of the water and the drinking water that goes into this area with the water runoff. And I'd like to see what provisions could be made to ensure that the drinking water is potable before any property is sold.
I do know that the grades for this run from the south to the north.
I'm sorry, south to north, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's my error, I get confused when I see the map.
Oh, yeah.
But there is a grade, the water flow is gonna come off that mountain, and it's a tremendous amount of water that's gonna be coming off of there. I mean, 48-inch culverts are, that's a huge culvert,
Yeah.
right? It's a 36-inch culvert, basically.
Yeah.
Fully loaded.
Yeah, and I know
Standard.
the two 36-inch here.
And
to
there's
collect
two
the flow
36-inch
through
culverts,
there,
which is the
yeah.
equivalent of having, a 24-inch culvert fully loaded as well on the 100-year plan. So there's a tremendous amount of water, and when we did the site walk in October, and this was an especially dry period of time.
Sure.
There was still water flowing down the hill.
Yep.
I just think there's gonna be a tremendous amount of water that's gonna be coming continuously off of that area, and there's a junkyard up the road, and I'm just concerned about the quality of drinking water before any of the property gets sold to people who may not be even aware of what the risk would be. So I think a condition for sale, before any property gets sold here, should be that the drinking water is drilled and gets tested.
Sure, I think that'd be fine. That's a condition for sale.
Yeah.
Yeah, add it to, yeah.
Yeah.
So a well, you're asking for a well to be
Yeah.
drilled
Yeah.
and water tested?
And water tested before any property gets sold, just so
prior
that
to-
people can be assured that their water is,
I'd imagine, yeah, I'd have to look at where the well was on lot one. I wonder if it could even just be done from there, potentially, which would give you a good, but yeah, no,
lot one is quite a ways away from from where those drains, especially between lot 3 and 4 and the other one. There's gonna be a tremendous amount of water coming down that hill.
So are
sure.
you looking at prior to issuance of building permits or prior to transfer of title?
Well,
Yeah.
that's an
Yeah.
interesting,
Yeah, because,
before any money gets exchanged, I
So
guess,
prior
from
trans-
the buyer to the seller.
So prior of transfer of title, because then they could get a building permit, they could start, because the assumption is even if the wells did test with issues, they could do a mitigation system on the wells. So you don't wanna hold them up necessarily for constructing them, but you wanna make sure that the people, the buyers, get good drinking water.
Correct. Or they're aware of what in fact they're signing up for.
Sure. See.
And we've already talked about the HOA document, there are many errors in that need to be corrected.
I'll definitely pass that along.
And then a maintenance plan specifying what the maintenance plan is gonna be for the cistern.
That's You looking for a maintenance plan for all of the components of the homeowners association, their stormwater elements, et cetera?
There should be one that was provided for stormwater and the stormwater, and probably in preliminary, but that could just be an appendix to the association doc, so it gets recorded as well.
Yeah.
I know that should be one from our end on that. I just realized I'm probably covering up the mic with this plan, sorry.
What's that, Bonnie?
And then, from what I recall, there's gonna be a limit on the amount of clearing that's gonna be done on the property?
Yeah.
And how does that get enforced?
I think you talked about that earlier, that it would have to be delineated in the field with the iron post before they go in and do any clearing. So
And then subsequently, after the
Yeah.
property's been conveyed, how do we enforce that?
It's in their deed language, I mean, let's be honest, we have one code officer, so it's not like they're out looking for problems. But I can tell you that other subdivisions, people in their subdivision are watching. We do get calls about, someone's clearing, should they be doing that there, type of thing. So it really is up to the homeowners association for people to be aware, but it is in their deeds, and it does say that they're not supposed to clear stormwater buffers.
Okay.
If I could back up, one thing that you really need to do before you do anything is that they do have an additional waiver request.
Yeah.
So in order
Yeah.
to do anything, they would need to have that waiver, because that's critical to their phosphorus plan and their stormwater plan. And we did discuss that, I think, on the sidewalk about meeting the vegetated buffers.
Yes.
But we did not grant that waiver at the last board meeting, we only granted 3.
Right, that was on page 3 of your memo, right? Number
That's
2?
correct. Then item number 2, additional waiver request.
I'll make a motion to waive 1008.5 Appendix A, street design standards to allow for a vegetated grass shoulder. This is to help with the compliance of phosphorus mitigation.
Yeah, I'll second that, that's fair enough.
Okay, Martina made a motion to grant that additional waiver, and Marty second, all in favor? Thank you. Kathy, on that same, that memo, while we're on that page of it, under 3, review criteria, item 3, just says will not cause on an existing water supply, there's a word missing there. Just,
Which one are you looking at?
we're on page 3 of
It's
your,
it should have said undue burden.
okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah. So I listed all the review criteria, if you were going to move forward tonight. So I guess we kind of have a fork in the road as to whether you want them to come back with some additional information. And if so, if you decide to go that route, it is possible that you could just table the application so we don't have to go through the whole process again, and they could come back in 2 weeks with the additional information. That's one option. And then I could also, we could also decide what route you're gonna do as far as the phosphorus. That's part of the discussion, I think, too, because I think they need to know where you're gonna go with that one.
Well, in my perfect world, all phosphorus is dealt with on site, that we don't have this issue, but I also understand that we were asking for an additional bit of information, and that's not mandated by the state, and is not really reflected in our ordinance right now. I hope to change that in the future. So, I mean, if the town is willing, I think the next best thing would be to have a kind of a municipal phosphorus fund, mirroring kind of what happens when money's given to LEA to manage for the state. And at least for this project, I think going forward, if we change our ordinance, we could be changing things.
Right.
So if we did that, and we asked them to come back in 2 weeks, would you have an opportunity to ask the select board?
I'll have an opportunity to get it on a select board agenda, and then if in 2 weeks we're not able to get it on, I mean, I think they've already set that agenda, so, if, the other option is to wait for a month, and then by then you should be able to get it on an agenda, or it could be a condition at 2 weeks. It's really up to them as well.
Well, I just
whether
wonder,
they
like,
can
if the
pull together.
select board said no, then what do we
Yeah.
do? Then we get nothing, right?
No,
we
not this
can't.
condition, but, I mean, the cleanest way is to wait until we have an answer on that.
Yeah.
It sounds like I mean, this is up to you guys, if you're gonna take option number 2, which is to accept the 60% treatment plus the 11,000. That's really your determination. And then from there, I can check with the select board, or get it on the select board agenda.
I mean, I feel like that's probably the best option.
I
I
would
would
think so,
feel,
too.
I would feel like it would be an undue burden on the applicant if we said now you had to cut out another house out of the plan. I just, you know, it sounds like that's the only way you could
my
mitigate
understanding,
or
yeah.
maintain.
And I'd imagine that the fund could go to maybe some higher pollutant sources to correct rather than a single-family home potentially in the watershed as well.
I also hear some additional conditions. One is the water testing prior to transfer to title. The other question that I have for you is that, given the importance of how this is designed to treat the phosphorus and the stormwater runoff, did you want to require inspections by the consulting engineer and the reports to be reported to the CEO or given?
Like periodically?
Yeah,
During the
like-
life of the prod?
No,
well,
I'm talking about during construction.
Oh.
During construction. And if they conduct the inspect, to make sure it's built as
Yeah,
planned.
Bill does.
But we can clean up all those, if you're gonna wait till the next meeting or a subsequent meeting, we can clean up all those conditions.
Yeah,
in
which won't be in 2 weeks, it'll be.
a month, yeah.
I think that would be a great idea to have periodic reports during construction.
Yeah.
And I'd like to know what the cost would be for 100% phosphorus treatment. I mean, at the end of the day, this is the most important asset we have in our community, is these waterfronts
Right.
and the
Yeah,
lakes.
sure.
Absolutely.
And I'd like to know what that associated cost would be.
In terms of,
On-site, 100% treatment.
In terms of loss of lot, what the loss of lots.
And the work to be done. What it's cost to put that type of treatment in place.
I guess I'm hearing, yeah, I mean, yes, I think, I don't know, I'm guessing, but based on what you said, I think the cost is less houses sold.
right.
Or
I'm not sure
whatever.
that there's anything you could do to do 100% based on
From-
6 more homes.
From what I was informed, there isn't anything that would make the project, keep the project viable to construct.
Yeah,
That's
I don't know what that means, so I need to, have a quantified outlook as to what that means.
sure.
I mean, I'm sorry, I have to be this
No.
way, because I really truly believe it's the number one asset we need to protect in long-term, down the road. Other projects are gonna come into play, and it's just gonna continue on, unless we take a hard stand at this point in time and say, no, we're gonna truly protect the environment in town, because that is our asset.
And I think just from my point of view, so people understand, so my recent involvement in the comprehensive plan, I think yours too, Marty, is that we have to understand that there are such things as residential growth zones, and yet this is not in a residential growth zone, so this was not identified as a place where we really wanted to have this much development going on, so it's just kind of like a wake-up call, I
Yeah.
think, to all of us.
For all of us, sure.
Do you have your list, Kathy?
Yep, so let's go through, let's just, the remaining items that I had, is related to permits, mostly on, page 3, remaining checklist. All of these have been met. I did not, on C, the Army Corps Maine General Permit is in tab 8. I did not put that at the end of that.
Said it is in tab A?
It is, it's the very end of
Okay.
tab 8.
So, 8.
The only other thing in this section that I did not see is, I did see the subdivision name was added to the plan. I wasn't sure if they had checked with the 911 officer yet on that, whether or not that name was compliant. I don't think I saw anything, and I couldn't list it.
I don't know. I hadn't seen anything on that myself.
So if they could check, if they're coming back, if they could just check on that to make sure that it has been approved by the road commissioner. Other than that, I do not have any other outstanding items. They added all the plan notes that I'd asked for. One of them was related to the private road, that the road will remain private. The underground electricity from the pole at the street, and the list of waivers granted, which they've added to the plan notes on 28, 29, and 30. So I think it would be helpful just to recap exactly what it is that you want them to bring back. I guess it's the HOA, the finalized HOA
Correct.
Right.
documents, including maintenance plan for the cistern. And then I have,
Was it just the cistern, or was it, the,
stormwater.
right, stormwater as well?
I think he mentioned that it was in the stormwater plan, but maybe echo it in the HOA docs as well.
Yeah, I know we always have them in our stormwater plans, but it could
Okay.
just be copied as independents in the docs, probably.
The final HOA plan with the correct, subdivision name,
Yeah.
as well as the correct lot numbers.
Yeah.
Right, and we're gonna remove easement for lot 3 and 4.
And this is Naples, not Standish.
Yeah.
Okay.
So all the edits to, corrections to the HOA docs.
Sure.
And then I'm gonna work on the notes, so concerning the drinking water testing before and all of that. And then 100% treatment, what does that entail? Cost-wise, can it be done? What's the cost? And how many lots, or how many lots are lost? So it may not be feasible, but you wanna know the details. And I'm also gonna add a note related to inspections, a condition related to inspections, that you would like to have their consulting engineer do inspections during construction and provide reports. I'm
Would that be
concerned
like a
primarily
periodic,
with-
like
I'm-
based on a calendar date or based on amount
No,
of work
where
being done?
they are on the project.
Okay.
I'm more concerned about, just that it's built to plan,
Right.
basically. the
When we
road
do
and
inspections of the
stormwater.
stream
Yeah.
crossings
And that's
and wetland.
typical.
Yeah.
Some towns require third-party inspections. I'm not concerned about that. They designed this project, they put their stamp on it. Just want to make sure that it's built accordingly.
Yeah.
And that will also ensure that your no-cut zones are respected and all that if they're gonna be out there on site.
I think that was it.
So all my lists checked off. Anything else, Marty, you all set?
No, that's good. That's enough.
Good.
Okay.
So what I would recommend is to table it
Yep,
to
so
be a certain meeting, what is the date for this February? Hold on. Too soon.
February 3rd?
February 3rd.
Third.
If you think you can be ready by then,
I think he could,
okay.
yeah.
And in the meantime, I need to take this policy to the select board.
Yes.
And that'll give enough time for that to happen?
I think I will be able to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, they have a second meeting in January. I won't make the first meeting, but I can make the second one,
That'd be the
26th, I think.
Okay, so we have a motion to, make a motion to table this to February 3rd meeting, our next available meeting, we'll be able to get this in. Have a second? Second, all in favor? 3? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, table business, there is none. On to the next meeting. New business, item 6, move on to new business, is a request from Sam and Don Merriam, represented by DM Roma Consulting Engineers for a proposed change of use and associated dock permit located at 730 Roosevelt Trail, map U02, lot 37-01, in the Village Causeway Overlay and Limited Commercial Shoreland Zoning District, that's a mouthful. This parcel is about 4.7 acres.
Good evening.
Sam, welcome.
Thank you, everyone. I've got some of my family's here. I've got some of my team members, customers, and all great folks from the community. And so thank you for coming out tonight and supporting us. So, the Kramer property. I grew up in Naples. My parents lived next door to that property, and I have a connection to it. You know, Naples is not a town you just move to because you need a place. You know, Naples is a real, it's very special, and that's why we're here. You know, I can remember out on Long Lake when, you know, probably the biggest boat you'd ever see was 18 foot. That was a big boat. And my dad had a 16 or 17 foot runabout. So, you know, I miss what it used to be like. I gave my son a 12-foot aluminum boat to go frogging with and fishing, and when he was 12, and he wouldn't use it, and I always did that. And I asked him one day, how come you never use the boat? You never go out and do the stuff that I did? And he said, Dad, he said, I'm afraid out there. He said, that's, you know, it's so rough, and the boats are big, and you know, he's right. I'm afraid out there too. You know, I've lived at Brandy Pond for years, and used to take my kids out on the tube and drag them around, and you know, I stopped doing it because it's not a safe place. I recognize that. But if I can be part of, you know, preserving the past, perhaps the Kramer property is an opportunity for me to help do that. But that can't happen without a successful business. And the Merriam legacy has been here for a while, since the 70s. My dad was Fremont Merriam. He was clerk of the works on the library project. He built the Song River Queen with Frank Garish. He had a hardware store, construction business, and he stumbled into this opportunity to be in the dock business. And you know, as a kid growing up here, my first job was in Naples. I worked for Tony Rogers, raking and mowing and all this stuff. And my dad got into doing docks. I lit up. I thought, wow, that's something I see myself doing. And interestingly, the dock business started right across the street from Gary Kramer's. Now, that wasn't Gary Kramer at the time, but it just seems really interesting that wow, I'm looking at that property as, and I'll share my intentions without getting too much into the weeds, but simply that I am running out of room up here for my sales department and my administration. We employ a pretty significant sales team year-round. I have an engineer, I have an accountant, and operations manager. We all work in kind of a tight space. My area outside the store is very limited, and I've been getting by for years with it. I've looked in different places to expand. I grew my footprint on the hill. I bought land in Bridgeton with in mind that there is space there for me to move the entire business to Bridgeton. I really don't want to do that. I want to stay in Naples. When the Kramer property went on the market, I thought, wow, yeah, it'd be really nice to have for the business, but it's too much money. But the longer it was on the market, the more it festered, and I thought, you know, I could see if I could just move sales and administration there, that would solve a lot of the problems, and the connection to the water would really enhance the experience for my customers, and also the sales team to have, you know, real understanding of our products, how they work, how they, you know, how a boat ties up, how you use whips and lines, and all the things that you really should know in the sales business. But I'm seeing it, and I'm trying to present best I can a serendipitous opportunity whereby you know a little bit about me. I just shared just a synopsis, the history. I went to middle school here, high school, went to school at Maine. I'm back here. I've been here my whole life. My kids are now in the business. My son works for me. My daughter, she just graduated from Maine, and she's going to be with me in a very short time. She's going to start this month. So I have a deep appreciation for family businesses, and I think that it is a very good thing for this town. We are the kind of business that if I could believe that Naples has a mindset, Naples would want this company to be here and stay here. Okay, that said, the connection to the waterfront is important to justify this investment for Great Northern. What I'm asking for is a permit that would allow a commercial dock arrangement, and I'm looking to do 2 arrangements off that shorefront there. I'm not interested in adding to the mayhem out on the water on a Saturday. I'm not looking to fill up the waterfront with as many boats as I can cram in there. That is not my objective. If you look at how I've run the business up the street, I try to be very tasteful about how the building looks, how the displays look, and I do have a mindset towards safety. I actually was on the marine safety when it started. I wrote the bylaws. I used to work for the state in marine resources. I work for Marine Patrol. So I have a deep appreciation for boater safety, and I don't want to contribute to the problems that we already experience out there. The business I'm in is in docks and providing quality and safe dock products. And with as important as the waterfront industry is, particularly to Naples, to me, we fit a very important need, and that is providing professional products that serve our customers and your residents here on the water. But Great Northern is it's doing some pretty amazing things, and we don't toot our horn, but it's gone from a very small company, very small group of people, to today we're shipping product outside of Naples. So essentially we are exporting out of out of Naples into other states and even, down into the Caribbean and in Canada. So our core business is the Lakes region of Maine, but we have tremendous potential, and that's just not lip service, it's really happening. And so I'm excited for this company, and I'm excited to see it stay in Naples. I would love to have the Kramer property as the face of Great Northern's sales and administration. I'm not interested in cluttering the property with all kinds of aluminum and all kinds of pallets of inventory. That's not what I aim to do. And I really didn't want to get into the weeds on what my plan is or my vision for the Kramer property, because really all I'm here to do tonight is ask for a permit, because that is the gateway into the other things that I can do with the property. If we have the permit for commercial dock activity, and that activity is merely dock display and demonstration, and probably training and maybe some product development exercises that we might want to do in there. So what I'm looking for really is an area that we can put in the two dock systems. They would be of different types, like one might be floating, one might be stationary, maybe one's made out of aluminum, maybe one's got, one might have, wood portions to it or synthetic. But the idea is that as products change, as the times change, we can change with them. And with that, I'd love to turn it over to Dustin. Dustin's been my civil engineer on this project, and I'm certainly available to answer any other questions you may have. So, thank you.
Thanks, Sam.
Great, thank you. It's a great intro. Yeah, so just to kind of bullet through some of the specifics of exactly kind of what we're asking the board for here tonight. These dock components, they will be completely seasonal components, so none of the components here are going to be permanently installed in the lake. They'll be in seasonally, taken out just like any other seasonal dock. We've put some parameters on the plan, and Kathy's helped us kind of memorialize them in some of the proposed conditions of approval that are in the packets, that kind of provide the flexibility that we're hoping for to be able to adopt different product types and things over the years, where we might want to make some subtle changes or different configurations to the docks, but to clearly lay out the framework of kind of the area that we're working in, the expectations of kind of maximum lengths, footprints, connection points to the land, all those things that are very easily enforceable from the town and very easily for Great Northern to be able to kind of, work within those guidelines from year to year and just be able to kind of plan out how they're going to be doing things and making sure that everything that they're doing there is within the expectations of the town and within, all the rules and regulations. We had the opportunity to meet with the harbor master and have some discussions about this proposal prior to making the application, and just to make sure that this configuration and this area that we're intending to work in is not going to pose any sort of navigational hazards to the waterway. It's not going to create the clutter or anything like that, or be confusing. So we kind of worked all that through before making the application, just to make sure that we had complete buy-in from everybody here from the town with this proposal as we've laid out. As far as access to this area, there's basically currently a mowed field from the paved entrance into the site, where you just basically walk around the edge of that to get down to the water. We've been working again closely with code enforcement on if there is an intent going forward to kind of formalize where that path goes. There's some conditions proposed in the memo as to how we would go about seeking those permits and making sure that any of those designs would meet all the standards of shoreland zoning, DEP, as well as, Causeway Overlay District standards. So there'd be a process that we would go through if we were to kind of more formalize that access way down to the water. We identified in those proposed conditions of approval, there were a couple of things that we were hoping to maybe wordsmith a little bit just to provide clarity again. So condition of approval number 2 stated a maximum length of 75 feet on the dock segments, and we just wanted to clarify that that would be a measurement from the land out to the furthest point of the dock and not necessarily measured along any sort of L's or T's or anything like that, or finger slips that might get put onto the dock, so that it really identifies just that projection out into the water, that 75-foot area. So we just wanted to provide some clarity on that. And then the second piece was on condition of approval number 4, the way it's currently worded, it fixes the location of the dock connection points to those 2 locations where we're showing it on the site plan. I do have to say that those 2 locations were kind of just a preliminary layout as to kind of, we just put something on the plan as far as where those 2 points might be. There's plenty of opportunity along that shore frontage as to where those sites are going to be located, so we anticipate identifying 2 spots, and those spots are not likely to change from year to year. We'll identify those connection points, and we anticipate kind of reusing those from year to year. But I don't know that they're going to be exactly in the locations as shown on this plan, so we wanted to change the wording of that condition of approval number 4, just to state that I think the suggestion from the town was that we maintain a 20-foot setback from the side. But other than that, those locations don't necessarily need to be fixed in the location we're showing on this plan. There's another part of the application that we submitted which deals with the change of use. And that's really just to acknowledge that the previous use on this property was best described, I guess, as a home occupation. There was a residential component and there was also a commercial component, but it really kind of functioned as that home occupation type use. This is going to be a little bit different in that we still want to keep that mixed use component available to this property and not lose that as it begins to transition more to a commercial type of use. So we do still intend to have a residential and commercial type use, which is really something that's encouraged in the overlay district, the Causeway Overlay District as well. So we want to continue to maintain that, but it may not be exactly as prescribed if it were a new use in the zone where you would have like first floor and second floor. And so we'd like to be able to just maintain some flexibility of it just being a mixed use building. Again, we don't have plans as far as exactly how that use is going to be configured with the commercial and the residential piece. That stuff will have to work through with code enforcement as renovations are proposed to the buildings to be able to fit it up for the commercial use that Great Northern is going to need. But those are details, again, that we'll work through with code enforcement as far as how that residential and commercial use would coexist in the property. But we did think it was important just to have the board allow that mixed use to continue to happen on the property where it's been dormant for a little while, and we just didn't want there to be any surprises going forward because we're still in a purchase and sale agreement, have not yet purchased the property, and what we did is, the way we're doing this as a phased approach, is we've kind of identified a couple of things that were kind of deal breakers on this project. So not being able to utilize the waterfront for these commercial dock demonstrations and training areas would be something that potentially would not allow the project to go forward at all. And then also we didn't want to lose that commercial and residential mixed-use component where the property is going to be changing hands, and we're not intending to have it be that owner-occupied home occupation anymore. So we just wanted to kind of memorialize that as well. As far as those conditions of approvals that are listed in the memo, as well as some of the notes and things we've put on the plans, if there's anything at all that the board feels needs to be, more clearly written, more clearly defined to kind of deal with maybe any unintended consequences that you might be thinking of, we're certainly open to, discussing any of those. We certainly we wanted to be very transparent about what the intended use was here, and if there's anything that you're concerned about, hopefully we can talk about it here tonight, and if there's any information that you'd like added, we're certainly open to having that discussion with the board. So with that, we'll turn it back over to the board and to Kathy, if there's anything you'd want to add, and we're happy to answer your questions.
Okay, awesome, thank you. I just have a couple of things that somebody just mentioned, so I want to stay on it while it's in my brain. I like the idea that we're looking at keeping just 2 permanent attachments to the land, wherever they may be. Because I would maybe envision if it changes a lot, then we may have some erosion issues on the edge of the lake, and I think it's better if we keep it at 2. And you mentioned a 20-foot setback, is that just for the property boundary on each side?
Yeah, that would be that kind of riparian boundary that projects out into the water
Yeah.
line, so
Okay.
we would maintain a 20-foot separation from those sidelines.
I think that was one of the concerns. And then something else I had highlighted earlier, when I was reviewing the material, we said mixed use, and I know that's kind of a funky word to use sometimes, but we ran into an issue up the street from that with a property not too long ago that was mixed use, but it limited what their commercial businesses would be allowed in that property. It was up, real estate place that's right up the street next to Bray's.
Yes, because in that case, that property was located, I think, in commercial.
Okay.
And mixed use isn't allowed in commercial well, actually, it is now.
now.
It is
Okay.
now, but it wasn't at that time. So, yeah, so mixed use is allowed in the village district.
Okay, just wanted to make sure that was
Yeah, no, I hear
not
ya.
gonna be a stumbling block for the project, that's all. Marty or Martini, do you have any other questions, concerns?
Yeah, so, we're going ahead and looking to make these docks go out 75 feet. Why is it going to 75 and not 50? I'm just curious as to.
Yep, we provided several arrangements of some sample docks here, and based on a few of the different options that we've laid out, that 75-foot, everything fits within that, and some of these do extend out beyond, would be beyond 50. We did draw in the adjacent docks that are adjacent to this property here, just to give some context as far as how this 75-foot line matches up with some of those adjacent structures as well. And we're certainly not going to be going out beyond where
Okay, that was
those are.
75 in here. So my real question, I guess, at the end of the day,
Yeah.
if we approve this permit to go out and build these docks, I love the idea of the business staying here with me, I'm all for it 100%. Does this transfer over if the property gets sold, gets subdivided and used for residential use? Does this permit
No.
go with it?
No, not unless they were to do the same use. If they were to go and change the use, or it would be something other than, this is specific, and that's why this is kind of an interesting project, because there's a lot of nuances here.
Yeah.
They're using this for customers and owner-operator use only, so it's not opened if someone goes and decides to put a hotel or something else there, they would have to come back to planning board. So they're not gonna be able to just use these docks the way that they're being approved. They're approved specifically for this use. So, yeah,
So if the property gets sold and it gets split into 2 different, lots.
2
so it's-
different lots,
Then-
and it's used residentially, then the residential standards would be
Apply.
apply.
So it doesn't
This
carry
is
forward.
Yeah, that doesn't carry forward
Okay, cool.
unless somebody were to sell it to someone that's doing the exact same business operation.
Okay.
Right, you couldn't have a 75-foot dock if it was if it was residential.
Residential.
It's
I
only
just
I
want to
think-
make sure it
it's
didn't carry
commercial.
forward, that was the
Yeah,
thing.
it's all-
And are you looking to make the attachments to be with some sort of concrete dock attachment, or is it going to be just?
No, just temporary.
Just a temporary thing, okay, yeah.
And we understand, moving stuff around is not good for the shoreline. You want things to grow. You
Sure.
want your weeds, everything to grow on the shoreline. And what's likely gonna happen is we find the spot where the ramp really wants to be, or the
Yeah.
stair, and we're not gonna wanna, we really don't wanna be moving that around. It's usually you find the favorite spot and that's where it stays. So from year to year, the docks come out in the fall, and then, the next year, you might have realized, hey, we got a new product, you know, maybe if the floor plan should alter a little bit to accommodate that, and I wanted to circle back to one of your other questions about the length out. Why? Well, in a showroom situation, like, you know, you wanna have opportunities to show all your products, and I'm not even sure that, you know, I don't have a vision for exactly, you know, how that's all gonna lay out, and that is why I included all those scenarios. They might actually, you know, they might branch off of the main dock, just so people can see, oh, I can have a berth to pull the boat into, or I could have an L shape, and, you know, because I can accommodate a boat on the outside and one on the end, that type of thing. So it's merely to provide opportunity to show what we need to do.
And there's no intention for leasing any space on there, per se, it's for private use only, as you mentioned, you know?
Correct,
For a
yeah, so
couple
the company
boats,
has
okay,
its
cool.
own boats. I have my own personal boat. I can see keeping boats there, because we use boats for a number of work purposes. But if the boats are there, they really, you know, they bring everything kind of together, you know, the customer sees, I see how this product works, and how, you know, the bumpers that you guys make, fend the boat off, you know, those kinds of things. It just brings it all together in a nice way.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Let's see, concrete, wrap, use, no, it's all good. Okay, no, I'm
I
good.
just had a question about Randy's note. I think there's a typo, because he said that the application states that the proposed structures will remain outside the 200-foot water safety zone. I think you meant inside, right?
Yeah, yeah,
That-
yeah.
yeah.
I think you know what he's saying.
I know,
Yeah.
but just,
Yeah.
because, just to be clear, we're not approving, just in case
Yeah.
somebody else reads this, we're not approving a dock that's going outside the 200-foot
Right.
safety zone.
While we're at typos, the memorandum, the owner should say Sam and Don Marion, is that how you pronounce it? And there was a typo on the history, 2B. The public hearing is August 4th, 1981. And this was quite a research project.
It looks like you really
Just
did.
because, just to give perspective,
Yeah.
this is what we have for the application for this in 1981, is one document. We have all the minutes.
Looks like a book
As
report.
compared to applications today. But they did do quite an extensive soil report, but it's just amazing how things have changed from 1981. But I did want to mention those two changes, and just to be clear that what they're gonna come back for site plan. What they're looking for is to be able to move forward and know that they're gonna be able to do what they need to do in order to make this a viable project for them. So the two elements that are on the table today, it's not really a site plan, it's just a change of use and the dock permit. So I mentioned some elements of site plan only as a placeholder to say they're gonna be coming back for more if they decide to do more than what's already there. I also, as they were talking, noted that I should add a note that the condition, use of docks is private and is intended for customers and owner-operator of the business only. And that way it's clear that it's not gonna be, you know, 4th of July party dock type of thing. That it's private only,
Yeah, or leasing space.
or not for leasing space, just private use
Private.
only for customers and the owner-operator of the business.
Yeah, and I think the way we've always kind of looked at it as we're discussing it is that this is basically accessory to the retail use on the site, and it's not its own standalone commercial use. It's really accessory to the business.
So as long as you explain to your customers that they can't have a 75-foot-long dock at their private residence. Because that's only for
Maybe hand out
commercial. I'm getting a little
our
nervous about
ordinance.
things that might be coming in here,
You can't buy the whole dock.
right? You can't buy 75 feet of dock and,
Not in Naples
no,
anyway.
no, yeah, anyway. I don't have any other questions.
No?
You're good.
Okay, so we need to have the motion then to move forward?
We do,
That's fine.
and I did some wordsmithing on number 2.
Yeah,
After each dock shall not exceed 75 in length from the shoreline to the furthest point in the water. so that needs to be added. And then on number 4, I struck the first sentence and put any reconfiguration of the docks must be contained within the dock display area, and the access points to the docks must be located a minimum of 20 feet away from the property line or a riparian line. And then it sounds like we're gonna keep number 5, the placeholder related to the construction of the path. And then add number 7, use of the docks is private and limited to customers and the owner-operator of the business.
Say that part again. That, you're gonna add something to 5?
Number 7,
Oh,
use of the docks is private and for the use of customer, and limited to customers and owner-operator of the business.
all right, when we get to that, I'll ask you to repeat that
Sure.
again. Along with number 4.
I didn't get all those other changes, I didn't write them
That's
down,
okay.
but you got them?
Kathy
Okay,
has them,
okay.
so,
Well,
I'll
is she gonna
listen
make
to
us
you
say
when
them
you
now?
Yep, so thank you very much. So we're gonna make a motion to approve the request from Sam and Don Merriam, represented by DM Roma Consulting Engineers, for a proposed change of use and dock permit located at 730 Roosevelt Trail, map U02, lot 37-01, in the Village Causeway Overlay and Limited Commercial Shoreland Zoning District, with the following findings and conditions of approval. Number 1, this approval is limited to the change of use from home occupation to mixed use in the dock permit as shown on the submitted site plan and supporting materials as represented by the applicant and their consultants at the January 6, 2026 Planning Board meeting. Number 2, the approved dock permit allows the applicant to install a maximum of two access points and 2 docks. Each dock shall not exceed 75 feet in length from the shoreline out into the water,
To the furthest point.
to the furthest point,
in the water.
or 800 square feet of surface area. So that's for 2 docks.
Each, yeah.
Okay. The total maximum surface area of the 2 docks combined will be 1,600 square feet. Any changes to the maximum allowed length or size requires approval from the harbor master and the planning board. Number 3, the dock permit will allow for the reconfiguration and replacement of the dock components with the notification and approval of the Naples Harbor Master. The applicant must demonstrate that the above criteria in the Naples Mooring and Waterfront Management Ordinance continues to be met. Any expansion requires planning board review and approval. Number 4, I'm gonna let you read that one, Kathy, because I think we add a little bit to that.
Any reconfiguration of the docks must be contained within the dock display area depicted on the site plan, and the access points to the docks must be located a minimum of 20 feet away from the property line or riparian line. No, and then 5 is fine.
Okay, so 5 is prior to construction of a path to access the docks, all applicable state and local permits must be submitted to the Naples Code Officer, meeting all state and local shoreline zoning regulations, whichever is more restrictive. 6 is any additional development or changes to the site plan will require planning board review and approval, except as provided in 902.1.a, site plan review applicability. And 7.
The use of the docks is private and is limited to customers and the owner-operator of the business.
Okay, that's the motion that we got out there.
I'll second.
Marty, second?
I'll second that.
Any more discussion? Martina, all in favor? 2-0, let's move
Very good.
forward.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Great.
Yeah, and we do have a site plan here.
Is the board gonna wanna sign one, or?
I think it's a good idea. We haven't closed the meeting, and I thought that maybe perhaps that last note that we said might be added to this, though, before we sign it, about all the docks are
I'll add
private.
all of the conditions of approval.
That would
as
be
written.
fantastic.
I'll add
We
all
can do
those.
it, so we
And
can
bring them
sign
at the
it,
next meeting, and you can sign it.
sign it
yeah.
2 weeks. So I'll give you a clean notice of decision with those, and then you can add it to those.
Perfect, all right, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Sam, when you're ready
Good
for
luck.
the dogs, just submit a dog permit to the harbor master, because he has to sign
He
off
still has
on
to
it.
sign it.
Because they approve this part of it, but he's the one who actually has to sign the document and accept it.
All right.
So just submit what you're gonna be putting in and with pictures, and then he'll tell you how much it is, and we can go from there.
All right, excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Great, that's great.
Okay, item 7 is public participation for any planning board matters. Nothing added?
No, well, I have something under other business.
Okay, so
Can I just say something as a community member, real quick? I'm so glad you approved this project for the good, clean business in Naples. And having lived down there in that area, close by, that's awesome.
Thank you.
Keeping it right in, people that you know, right, doing a good business like this. Good job, you guys. Awesome.
Very good.
item 8, other business.
Yeah, I just wanted to
Martina?
make a formal request that the ORC work on the subdivision ordinance to address the phosphorus that we discussed today in this meeting.
Got it written down.
Okay, it's my formal request.
Okay, awesome.
And as the chair of the ORC, I will take that under advisement.
And drinking water as well.
Pardon me, we had discussed drinking water at a meeting.
Oh, you had discussed
Yes.
it, okay.
And I think
It didn't go very far.
But we can talk
actually,
about it at
but
the
we can
next
talk-
ORC
We'll talk
meeting.
about it again.
Yeah.
Why don't you come to an ORC meeting, Marty, and make your argument, please?
Okay.
We did discuss it, and the outcome was that the state currently isn't regulating or requiring that as part of the subdivision, and really, there's not any towns except for, I think, Wells, that does that. It is part of the it's kind of in the real estate agent's domain about well water, disclosures.
Right.
Disclosures and recommended inspections. The conversation that we went around in circles with those, it doesn't protect the poor buyer that goes and buys a subdivision lot with a building package if it's not required to be tested. So it died in ORC though, but it certainly can be brought back up, and we had a pretty long discussion about it too.
Well, we had a way to just address it now with a
Yeah.
new subdivision, so maybe with this condition of approval that we're
Yeah.
recommending for this, I mean, if we did something like
The
that.
planning board has the authority under the drinking water,
Right.
under fire protection and, drinking water to require the test. So if you have a suspect,
Right.
property, maybe you do that. It is a tough one though, for sure. It's another layer of regulation. As a realtor, you always want to recommend that people get their well tested for radon and uranium and other
Right.
contaminants before they close. But certainly can bring it up again. We didn't get rid of it. We
No.
have a new spreadsheet, and it was just kind of moved down to the maybe later, but not this round of ordinance revisions. Kind of more information needed, really, and
So the way we're handling it potentially with this subdivision that we
Yeah.
were discussing today, that would be a.
Could work.
That could work.
that
Do you
could
think
work.
that could be?
Yeah, it was only
Right.
because of this specific site that I had the
Right,
concern.
right,
Right?
right.
Right. And the state, the other thing that had happened is, the state has added regulation for landlords. So if someone was going to rent a property, they do require drinking water testing for private well water, not public water, because
Right.
obviously the water district does that.
Right.
So we already kind of felt like there was that layer, plus the realtor's disclosures, that's kind of being addressed. But within subdivision on a private water supply, we could certainly take care of it in subdivision ordinance.
Yeah.
Lots to think
When's your next
about.
meeting?
It's the
Third Wednesday.
Third Wednesday of the month.
9 AM to
Not-
11 AM.
Not next week, but the following week.
21st.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
The other thing, I have something under other business.
I would be happy to change that.
She has something as well.
Oh, I'm sorry, Kathy.
There are two plans that need to be signed over there. Doug has already signed one, if you guys,
Okay.
for
What project is that
Arlene's
for? Oh, okay.
from
Skyline.
West
Skyline, okay.
Yeah. And as far as meetings, we're looking busy for the foreseeable future.
We have January 20th, we have February 3rd.
Okay. They're on my calendar.
I am giving you the second meeting in July off, however, because I'm gonna be in Alaska.
Very good.
I'll put that on my calendar as well.
Yeah, so the second meeting, whatever that is in July,
Okay.
there's no way I'm flying to Alaska for a week.
That would be the 21st.
Yes.
Okay, item 9,
Want a motion to adjourn?
motion to adjourn.
I'll make it.
Second that.
All in favor?
Second.
Adjourn, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody.